BioShock character backstories. Andrew Ryan. Andrew Ryan is the founder of Rapture and the owner of Ryan Industries. He was originally born in a village near Minsk in Russia, modern Belarus. He is the main antagonist throughout most of BioShock. He is the chairman of the Rapture City Council, owner and operator of Hephaestus, and one of the most important men in the city. After the Russian Revolution of 1917, the Bolshevik Party rose to power. Seeing the oppression, Soviets as trading one lie for another from the tyranny of the Tsar, Ryan chose to leave Russia in 1919 to go to America and changed his name to Andrew Ryan in the process. Arriving in America, Ryan integrated well into the country, believing wholeheartedly in the American dream. Ryan soon rose to become a wealthy man, grateful for the prosperity America rewarded his hard work. However, Ryan's devotion to America began to waver in the 1930s when, following the Great Depression, then-President FDR instituted social democratic policies to relieve the problems being faced. Having become distasteful of any kind of socialism from his experiences in the USSR, Ryan saw the policies of the New Deal as a gateway to the Bolshevism practiced by the Soviets and believed those who benefited from others were parasites. Following the atomic bombing of Hiroshima by the United States, Ryan lost all his faith in America, seeing the creation of the bomb as a distortion of his ideals. Now seeking to build his own utopia, Ryan put his entire fortune towards the construction of Rapture, a community where the artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality, where the great would not be constrained by the small. It would be located at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, believing it to be a place the parasites could not touch. Upon Rapture's completion, Ryan invited several thousand prominent experts in many fields to come live and work in Rapture, unconstrained by any sort of government or regulation. Within Rapture, there was only one rule, a rule forbidding contact with the surface, in order to allow it to remain untouched by the parasites he sought to escape from. The unrestricted entrepreneurship and competition between the many businesses within Rapture led to a period of rapid innovation far beyond that of the surface. From 1946 to 1958, Rapture was a place of prosperity and freedom, embodying everything Ryan had envisioned it to be. The culture of free innovation in Rapture eventually led to the discovery of Atom by Brigid Tenenbaum. Ryan, at first, failed to recognize the applicability of plasmid market, brushing off the concerns raised by his colleagues Rosenberg and Bill McDonough, something which would eventually be one of the factors to foster Rapture's downfall. His vision would not hold forever, and soon began to collapse under its own weight. As the city was predominantly filled with visionaries and experts seeking to make their own, this left few who were willing to take up the menial but essential jobs needed for Rapture to function. The shortage of people filling these roles eventually triggered a widespread economic collapse throughout Rapture. The collapsing of the economy and deterioration of Rapture soon gave rise to a small-time fishery owner named Frank Fontaine, who capitalized on the failings of Rapture by establishing Fontaine's Home for the Poor. Fontaine also took advantage of Ryan's one rule by creating a market for goods smuggled from the surface and using it to fund his criminal operations. As Rapture continued to fall apart, Ryan began to face challengers for rule over Rapture. Among these was psychologist Sophia Lamb. Lamb openly criticized Ryan's objectivist beliefs, instead countering it with a collectivist philosophy that ran directly opposed to Ryan's. Ryan chose to debate Lamb, hoping the debates would persuade the public back to his side, but was unable to stop public opinion from swinging in Lamb's favor. Eventually, unable to quell Lamb's growing support, Ryan chose to have Lamb detained at Persephone Penal Colony. Also recognizing the threat Fontaine represented, Ryan took sweeping action against him and sent his security forces to shut down Fontaine's smuggling operations. While the investigations were successful, they were unable to pin down Fontaine himself. Eventually, in contrast the beliefs Rapture was founded upon, Ryan began to implement a series of authoritarian laws, including one punishing smugglers with death. To further maintain order, Ryan had much of Rapture's security and infrastructure coded to his own genetic frequency, so only he or those with his same genetic code could navigate it. In 1956, Ryan inadvertently impregnated an Eve's Garden exotic dancer named Jasmine Jolene. Recognizing that the child shared Ryan's genetic code and would be able to navigate areas of Rapture that only Ryan had access to. Knowing this, Frank Fontaine bought the embryo from Jolene. Ryan eventually learned what Jolene had done, and upon finding out, killed her in a fit of rage. Ryan eventually authorized an operation to put a decisive end to Fontaine's criminal enterprises. Though it seemed Fontaine had been killed, in fact, he had faked his death. With Fontaine seemingly gone, Ryan again went back on his free market philosophy, nationalized Fontaine's company Fontaine Futuristics, engaging in the very same big government behavior that he had sought to get away from. This move led to Ryan losing much of his support, including from his longtime friend Bill McDonough, who resigned from the Central Council in protest.